Dave from cheapwinefinder.com again, and today we have a wine from 90 Plus Cellars. They are negotiants, and we'll get into what that is if you don't know. And this one is their California Pinot Noir Lot 179, the 2018 vintage. And a negociant, that's a French term. It's a wine business from France that doesn't make their own wine, or at least don't have to make their own wine. What they do is they go to different wineries, and they usually select them very careful who they go to. And they have to have someone who's willing to sell to them, and they will rebrand the original winery's wine under their own label. And since they're buying surplus from that winery, they're getting and paying cash up front. They're getting a discounted price, and they're passing the discount on to the wine drinkers. But you don't know who made the wine. You don't get any of the details, any of the stories. And you just have to trust the negotiant. And the negotiant business is all about trust. If they're not buying from the best people, they're not giving you a price you think is right for the wine you're getting, you're not going to go to them. You'll go to the original winery. So it's kind of the trust business. And this is 90 Plus Cellars. And they started back in 2009 when the economy crashed. And what they would do, because back then there's all sorts of California, Washington State. I mean, they have wines from all over, but who were looking for cash, and they were willing to sell all sorts of wines if you would pay cash up front. And they were, hey, why are we, let's only buy from 90 Plus. It was, you're basically guaranteeing that, that trust that they had to have. Well, someone somewhere said this is a 90 Plus wine, and that was like a brilliant idea, and that's what they do. And I think they're expanding. I don't think they're in every single market out there. If you can't find it in your local stores, you might have to go online. I think I put a link to them in the review we did. And they have a whole selection of wines from inexpensive. This California Pinot Noir I found on sale for $8.99. It should sell at a $10 range somewhere. And since it is another wine with another label, the original winery's labels was probably, 3 bins over for $12 to $13. And there you go. That's what negotiants do. Now, negotiants can be more complicated than that. It doesn't have to be the exact same wine. Sometimes they buy the juice that has just been fermented and then they age it differently. Or sometimes they, a negotiant in the Rhone Valley can buy a Grenache from one producer and a Syrah from another producer and a Mourvedre from another and make a GSM blend that would never exist other than them putting it together. So it's the negotiate improve. I forget what the French term was for it, but they can do different things. The aging can be different. The type of wood they put in can be different. It doesn't have to be exactly the same wine, though a lot of times it is. I mean, especially, I think this one probably is. I think that's what they do. They buy wines, and that's their model. And so this is a California Pinot Noir. Don't know anything more about it than that. And it's pretty good. It kind of, it's kind of got the Pinot Noir funkiness that I like about Pinot Noir. Back in the day, inexpensive Pinot Noirs were just kind of bland, cherry flavored wine. Not the worst thing. If you're going to make a bland wine, make it cherry flavored. But they didn't have a lot of personality, and they've started making them differently. And I don't know how they made this, but they started making them like the Beaujolais producers made Gamay, and it changed everything with Pinot Noir. Now you have these inexpensive wines with personality, and again, since this is a negotiant wine, I don't know anything about it. Maybe it did that, but maybe it not. But the flavor profile it's kind of got that ripe, juicy thing going that Meiomi people like, but it's not that big and bold. And it's kind of got the funky flavors and aromas that I actually like about it. And I don't mind the fruit flavors, but The one thing I don't like about Meiomi is I miss what I like about Pinot Noir. It tastes great, but what I'm looking for in a Pinot isn't there. And this one has both kind of, and it's $8.99, and it doesn't, it doesn't go all the way $45 Pinot, and it doesn't go all the way Meiomi. It's kind of in the middle, but it does a happy medium very well. And I'm going to have a sip because having a sip is a very good thing. And back to negotiant wines. There's a bunch of them out there. I think Cameron Hughes is out there. There's a few other ones that if you look it up, if you go online, look up negotiant wines, it's a really good way. And actually some French wines coming in here are from people who are buying the wines and putting them together. Sometimes they're from wineries, but since you can come in a little cheaper, you can bring it to the United States with the transportation, everything, and still come up with a good price on a wine. It's a great way of getting a value-priced wine. If they pick the kind of wines you want, you have to trust their palate. And most negotiants have kind of a house palate. You kind of know what they're going to bring to you. It doesn't work for them really well if every wine's completely different. You have to kind of have to know where they're going. It doesn't have to be like the exact same wines over and over again, but it has to kind of have the same feel that a lot of people enjoy. They have to kind of have a broad palette that many people like, especially in certain price range. I think in different price range, what your favorite palette is changes. But there are negotiants out there, and it's one of those wines that you should always kind of be aware of. Because there are times when, you're in a wine shop, and you're not sure what to buy, and you see a negotiant wine there. It's in this, you're in the Merlot section, and there's 15 wines, none of which and that one is going to be one of the other wines, but for $4 cheaper, that might be the one you might want to buy that time. So keep that in mind, because negotiant wines are a good thing. The existing winery, the one originating winery, they get a cash influx. They get money for their wine. They get rid of their excess. It kind of gets a taste for their wine. I've actually seen negotiants who are so good at pushing their wines that they sold out and the original winery didn't. And the original winery went, "Hey, we made that," because they want you to know, because sometimes, the marketing part of negotiants is the most important, and people are really good. And 90 Plus has been making really good wines, or not making really good wines, selling really good wines for a while. I particularly like their inexpensive New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. That's been a really solid one of the best inexpensive ones you can find. And there's other ones out there that are really great. And back in the day, when they used to make wines, they used to, when the winery was bottling their wines, they would, finish bottling their wines. They would stick the 90 Plus Cellar labels on, and they would do that. And they were supposed to put the cap or the corks in there, but they used to get caught a lot of times because you would get a 90 Plus Cellars wine and it'd have the cork from the original winery in there. So you go, "Oh, that's who made it." You weren't supposed to know. They don't have that problem anymore, but that used to happen. And that's what this wine's about. You have to trust them that they're going to go out and make a good selection. And you have to trust them that it's going to be cheaper than the original one. And that's the whole model for this thing. They are going to come in, they're going to make a good selection for your wine, and and they're going to be a value. And that's the whole point of this. And that's a good thing to know if you're into wine. And this little Pinot Noir from California, it's not Monterey, it's not Mendocino, it's not, not Santa Barbara, doesn't have any fancy names attached to it. It could be the best Pinot producer out there, and it could be from a single vineyard. I don't know. Probably it's not, but it could, but you don't know because it's a negotiant wine. And it tastes pretty good. I'm enjoying this $9 Pinot Noir. It's a lovely bottle. I'd buy it again. I rarely buy them again because we do these wine reviews all the time. You kind of keep on moving. You can't stop. But negotiant wine, 90 Plus Cellars, that's who they are. Find out who the negotiates are in your area. Like I said, I haven't looked at their website, but I think at one point they're only in like 25 states. But find out who your negotiants are and give them a try. Because if you're aligned with their palate, you can have great wines and save yourself some money. And nothing wrong with that. So adios for now. We'll come up. Oh, I have a crazy wine in a bit. We have the Bordeaux 2017 vintage tasting at the Drake on Wednesday. The Drake is a fancy, old school, fancy hotel. That's where Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio honeymooned in Chicago. So there's a big to-do on Wednesday where I'll be going to, so I won't be doing anything on Wednesday. But after that, I've got kind of a crazy cool wine that I'm really looking forward to drinking, and there's more. We'll have some fun, and I'll talk to y'all later. Adios and bye-bye.